Today we're going to speak a little bit about Pesach, not just Hilchos Pesach, but also about the deep secrets of Pesach. And I want to touch about a couple of points, a couple of interesting points, which will help us understand why specifically we don't count Galut Mitzrayim in the 4 exiles. We don't. We have the first exile, we count as what? Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar, the destruction of the first Beit HaMikdash. Then we count Parasu Madai, Persia, Achashverosh, the story of Purim. And then we count, which one? Yavan, Greece. During the Greek exile, the Beit HaMikdash wasn't even destroyed. We had a Beit HaMikdash in our own land, and it was considered an exile. And the 4th exile was what? Is the one we're in today.
So how do we know the transition?
Edom. Well, the transition could be found in the story of Daniel. When Daniel was one of the ministers of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. He had 2 dreams. And from those dreams, we learned the 4 exiles. We're not going to go into them right now. It's a lecture and a story within itself. But the beauty of it is the most amazing exile. An exile that the whole Judaism is based upon that, is not considered one of the 4 galuyot. And the reason it's not considered one of the 4 galuyot is something I want to talk about today. Before I want to say something I read once the name of Nachum de Breslov. Nachum de Breslov said that the pagam of our generation is called pagam adat, the blemish of the dot. What means the blemish of the dot? So, the blemish means when a person does an avera, he causes a certain stain on his neshama. Now, your neshama looks exactly like your body. What does that mean, it looks exactly like your body? Let's say, when a person passes away, how does his neshama look when he goes up in Shamayim? His neshama looks exactly like you look right now. I was once reading a story in the name of Rabbi Yosef Shani. He was once making it's called out-of-body experience. And before he makes an out-of-body experience, he asked the person, I want to see who you were in the last reincarnation. He asked him to see a picture of the person he was doing it for. And by seeing his picture, he could know because you look exactly as you did in the last reincarnation. Exactly. Hidabrut, the organization of Zamir Cohen, published a book, and in that book it says over there, he shows you pictures of actors and actresses, and 100, 200 years ago, same people from that generation, they look exactly alike. Same face, same everything. It's amazing. What's the connection? Gilgul. But I'm not, usually when a person says Torah Tassot, Torah Ta'ariach, the first thing he thinks about is Gilgul. But Gilgul is not the main thing over here. When the Ariach Kadosh first revealed the Torah Tassot, Torah Kabbalah. Torah Kabbalah is basically the fastest way to connect to God. If you want to connect to Hashem, it's the fastest way. Why? By truly understanding what's the reason of everything, you could reach a certain level where you could know why you came to this world. In fact, Rav Chaim Vital said, the whole in his Hakdama to Etz Chaim, he writes over there, the whole reason the person comes to this world, what's his main goal should be, first thing first, he has to learn Torah to such a point where he could know what's his Shorish Neshama. He could know where his Neshama came from in the upper worlds. What's the reason he came down to this world? The Gaon Mevilna says, the Vilna Gaon, that there's an easy way to find out. What's an easy way to find out? A person has to know what pulls him in this world. What does he love more to do? Let's say a person loves to wear tefillin. For him, tefillin is a big mitzvah. He never misses a day. He wears it, he bought the best tefillin. He always makes sure that tefillin is in the right spot. He always makes sure to help other people put on tefillin. It's his love, it's his drive. The Gaon of Vilna says he came to this world to fix the mitzvah of tefillin. Even though he might have put on tefillin in the last reincarnation. But since his neshama yearns for it, that means that's what he came to this world to do. On the other hand, in the negative commandments, anything that's hard for you to do, that's what you came for this world to do. If a person finds himself, it's hard for him not to steal. He's good at it. He's a good robber. He steals from his boss. He steals from his family. He steals from anybody. Do you know the halacha is, there's a halacha, 2 days ago I was zochet to do what's called I redid a chuppah v'kiddushin for somebody. Why? The halacha says, if a person has chuppah v'kiddushin, he got married, and the witnesses were pasul, the whole wedding is pasul. It's like he's never got married. How? He took the ring, he said, Hariyat mikudeshet li, he put the ring on her finger, he wrote a ketuvah, the whole thing is pasul. So what does that person have to do? He has to redo the whole marriage with a new ketuvah. So when I went to do the chuppah v'kiddushin over there, we needed another witness. I was one of the witnesses, and another witness we need. So we found a guy, and I told him, do teshuvah before you become a witness. Because if you don't do teshuvah before you become a witness, and let's say you did a big avera, and you're pasul le'edut, for example, let's say you're a gambler. You go to Atlantic City, or you go to Las Vegas, and you gamble, you're pasul le'edut. According to Rambam, you're pasul. According to the Torah, let's say you gamble and you have another job, you're kasher le'edut. According to the Rambam, even if you have a job, but you earn money through gambling, you're a gazlan, avak gezel. You're pasul le'edut. You got to redo the whole marriage. How many people do get married with witnesses? They get their friends, this, that, and these people could be pasul le'edut. They're pasul. They got to redo the marriage. One thing that makes a person pasul to be a witness, you never believe. If a person eats outside, the Gemara says, habizuyin. What does that mean, habizuyin? Those people who make themselves, bazui means like disgusting. If a person makes himself disgusting. You ever go to a restaurant, you see a guy, the grease is coming out of his beard from his mouth, or a person eating outside a falafel and a pita, he's walking outside and eating. That's called bizuyin. There is one dat in the Tosfot that says, Rabbi Eliyahu, Miba'alei Tosfot, that says, you know what the person is called bazui? You know those people who go to marketplaces and they say, oh, I'm just going to try a grape. I'm just going to try an almond. I'm just going to try this.
Sampler.
According to Rabbi Eliyahu, Miba'alei Tosfot, that person is a bazui. He's pasul edut. He can't be an edut to a marriage. Could you believe how many halachot we have, Rabotai? A person who does, what's called horse racing. He has a horse, and he races his horse with another horse. Makes money out of it. He can't be a witness. He goes to cockfighting. Or dog fighting. All these people are pasul edut, bizuyin. Even a shepherd. Today in New York there are no shepherds. But let's say a person, his job is a shepherd. He's pasul edut. Why is he pasul edut? The Gemara says, for sure, he's a thief. Why is he for sure a thief? How does he know if this land belongs to his owner or this land belongs to somebody? Maybe he's grazing the sheep on somebody's land. You're a thief. Your sheep are eating somebody else's food. You're a gazlan. Stamra in pasul edut. How many halachot, how many mitzvot do we have, Rabotai? It's amazing. If a Jew takes another Jew to court, Goyish court, he's considered one of the biggest Rishaim. You can't take another Jew to a non-Jewish court. You're pasul.
But there's circumstances.
There are circumstances. I'm talking about pshat halacha.
Yeah.
There is a halacha that says, the Tzot HaShulchan, I believe, brings down, that if a person knows that if he goes to the non-Jewish court, the person will listen, in certain circumstances is allowed. There is even Rabbi Harav Yakar. We don't follow this halacha, but the Shulchan Aruch, the Beit Yosef brings it down. Rav Yakar says that if a person has a goyish friend, and this person, the goy, is the most trustworthy guy, truthful, trustworthy, he could be a witness. We don't follow this halacha, but to this extent, understand? But I don't want to get into that now. Rav Nachum in Breslov writes all these halachot. And unfortunately, many things we do, we don't know, but we could be doing a lot of mistakes. If it's the Rabbanan, even if it's Doraita. For example, I want to ask you a question, guys. Let's say you're in the table with your parents eating food, Shabbat or Yom Tov, and you see somebody doing a mistake, Chilul Shabbat. You see him do borer. He's selecting the tomatoes out of the bowl of fruit. Something you're not allowed to do. It's borer. And you're a religious guy, and you want him to be Shomer Shabbat. Next to everybody, you say, "Listen, today's Shabbat, Asur." Were you allowed to do that?
No.
Well, he's gonna say, "Listen, I'm allowed to do that. It's called tochecha. I have a mitzvah from the Torah, hocheach tochiach et amitecha." To rebuke your friend.
Not your parents.
I didn't say your parents. I said somebody. I have a mitzvah to rebuke. I'm saving him from a deoraita. Shogeg, but it's a deoraita. Am I allowed to do that? The Mishnah Brewer writes down in the Be'er Halacha that these days to find a person that could upkeep the laws of rebuke is very rare. When you rebuke a person, you got to do it in private. You got to take him to the side. Some poskim say you're not allowed to even look at him in his eyes, not to embarrass him, and tell him, "Jonam, did you know that today is Shabbat and you're not allowed to do borer to unlimited melachot?" That's how you rebuke a person. But to call somebody out in public, to embarrass him, not only didn't you do a mitzvah, you went over a mitzvat aseh deoraita. Mitzvat lo taseh deoraita, lo tonu ish et amito. You're not allowed to hurt another Jew's feelings. And that's not under the umbrella of Ahavta l'reacha kamocha, by the way.
What if this is the only way he's gonna get it?
You're not allowed to rebuke him.
No, you tried the other way, and this is the only way he's gonna get it.
You know, there are many different rabbis today, there's many different lecturers today, they have different styles of screaming at people, yelling at people. Whatever they do is what they do. I don't know where they get it from. I know what the Shulchan Aruch says. You're not allowed to hurt another person's feeling. I know, very interestingly, Rav Mordechai Sharabi, Zecher Tzegdush Livracha, he used to give a shiur every mincha of Shabbat. Before mincha, he used to give a shiur in Reshit Chochmah. It's a book of Musar, written by Rav Eliyahu Dividash, the Talmid of Moshe Cordovero. The Reshit Chochmah is a very, very scary book. We all know that you guys ever heard of shiur of Gehenom? The 7 levels of Gehenom, what's in every level, who goes in, who doesn't come out. Who brings this down? The Reshit Chochmah. That's the source of Masechet Gehenom.
This is the only
Very scary book. It's the only book that brings it down. Reshit Chochmah. So one time in Rav Mordechai Sharabi, was Rosh HaMekubalim in his time, Zakan HaMekubalim. In his yeshiva Nar Shalom, some person came inside to hear the lecture. And this person is Mechalel Shabbat. Now Rav Mordechai Sharabi wants to tell the guy that Chilul Shabbat is Asur b'Shabbat. Is he going to tell him in front of everybody doing Chilul Shabbat? Well, no. What did he do? He started to change the whole lecture in Hilchot Shabbat. One of the great tzaddikim, Chacham Menachem Menashe, wrote the book Ahavat Chaim. Say he was one of the head of the Lamed Vav tzaddikim in his generation. Not long ago, last generation. He built a shul called Ahavat Chaim. I want to listen to you guys very carefully. This is a very big yesod in loving every Jew. In his shiur people used to smoke cigarettes. On Shabbat. You know what he used to do? His shiur was stories. He used to take stories of the Baal Shem Tov, stories of the Ari, stories of the Rashash, stories. He used to tell the people like this, guys, you want to smoke in the shiur? Smoke. Just do me a favor, don't put out the cigarette. It's a shul, you're smoking in a shul, stinks. Don't put out the cigarette, just put it down. Slowly over the years, these Mechalelei Shabbat turned into the greatest datim. They wouldn't smoke, wouldn't drive, nothing. Because there's a way to approach somebody. And most importantly, when a person looks at another Jew, he has to look at the Jew as himself. That's called V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. And it's very hard to do. Sometimes people go against you. Some people sell you out. Sometimes people rat on you, get you in trouble. How can I love such a person? So maybe it's a mitzvah to hate him. I once heard a beautiful lesson by Rabbi Nissim Yagen. What's the reason the second Beit HaMikdash was destroyed? Sinat Chinam. What does Sinat Chinam mean? Hatred for no. Listen, let's say somebody did me something wrong, and I hate him for that. Is it hatred for no reason? No, but it's the Chachamim still call it hatred for no reason. Why do they call it baseless hatred? You know what baseless hatred means? Let's say a person lives in an apartment, and let's say he has crazy neighbors. They run back and forth, break the thing. Your kid doesn't sleep at night, and you have to stay awake. You're allowed to hate him this much. But to hate him so much, to bang the windows, bang the doors, call the super, call the management, try to get the guy evicted, that's sinat chinam. To hate a guy this much, yeah, I could have said that's not baseless hatred, the guy drives you nuts. But to call the management, to call the super, to complain to the other neighbors, to say lashon hara, that's called sinat chinam. That's asur. That's sinat chinam. Rabbi Nissim Yagen said. Goyim is something else. Goyim, I don't want to say this on video, so maybe some other time we could answer that question, right? Discuss that. But I just want to tell you one thing about Goyim. My wife, tell you a personal story, was once in a shoe store. Nordstrom, I don't know where she was, some shoe store. And the cashier didn't realize, but she didn't charge her for one pair of shoes. It's a Goyish store. And my wife left the store. Then she opens the bag, and she sees over there an extra pair of shoes. She didn't pay for it. What do you guys think? Was she, and the Goy didn't know, the cashier didn't know. She didn't know. If you would have walked out just like that, they would never have known. It's a shoe store, it's a shoe market. Did my wife have a mitzvah to go back and tell them, listen, you didn't charge me? Stealing from a goy. Or maybe we could say,
Kiddush Hashem she just did. If she went back.
is kiddush, but did she have an obligation from the Torah? No. So the Gemara says whoever steals from a goy, it's worse than stealing from a Jew. Why?
Because nobody knows.
But there is a chance that somebody will know, and at the end of the day, it's considered stealing.
Yes.
Yes, and the Gemara says that when a Jew steals from a goy, the angel of the goyim go to Shamayim and start saying, not only do the Jews do so and so averot, they also steal from the goyim, and it's a big kitrug, big kitrug. And you know what the Gemara says in Masechet Sanhedrin? A person, a Jew, who takes tzedakah from a goy in public, I take tzedakah from a goy in public, if a person does that, he's pasul edut. He's a bazui.
What is bazui?
Bazui means he's disgusting. He's not allowed to be a witness in a marriage. If he takes money from goyim in public.
But it's the goy's fault though.
Exactly.
With the wife with the shoes. It's the goy's fault. Why is she has not been
Goy's fault or not, it's still considered stealing.
Why?
Because she didn't pay for it. She didn't pay for
She
it.
intends to pay.
And I want to tell you something. When she went back to return the shoes,
That's Kiddush Hashem.
you don't understand how they were praising her. They said in all our years of working here, we never had one time in our life somebody to come back and this kind of mistake and return the item. Look at the goyim look. Look at the goyim look. Why am I saying all of this, Rabotai? On the night of Pesach, unfortunately, Rabotai, I want to tell you guys, listen. Usually, I would say it's not good to leave your house for Pesach.
I know.
But sometimes it's a good thing.
Sometimes.
Why?
20 years.
After like.
Why?
Some people could sleep better at night.
On the night of Pesach, the Satan doesn't have a right to harm any Jew. Except in one situation. If the Jews get angry. And when does that happen?
In the house.
On the Seder night.
Because we have steps.
Why?
Time.
There are more than 8-9 steps to the Seder. Now you're the religious guy in the family. You're sitting on the Seder. And you know that a person has to eat at least 3 kezetot. At least. And you see, your uncle, your relative, your cousin, after the first matzah, they go to the korech and they take a small piece of matzah and they say, when I used to make Seder play back, and when I used to be a kid in 108, used to have a lot of people over, relatives, they used to take a small sandwich, this big, hey, this is my sandwich.
No, is this enough?
They take this big and they put so much charoset on it, it's unbelievable.
Sweet.
And they say, this is my sandwich. And they eat it, kaif. And you, because he already didn't eat a kazait of matzah in the beginning. And then at the end, when you get to the afikoman, he ate so much koruhan. He ate so much, I don't know what you guys serve. He ate so much food, when they get to the afikoman, his stomach is blown up like this. He said, afikoman eta bishvil dotio. And then the 2 cups come for Birkat Hamazon. And after Hallel, forget about it, he's already sleeping.
Regardless, then when we used to stay home.
And then you get upset at the person, and you lost all the mitzvah. You lost all the mitzvah. And I want to tell you guys a chidush that I heard. It was from Hashem, mamash from Hashem. I was driving to pick up shatnez. My suit's shatnez. No matter what, I always take my suits to shatnez. Anything that has a wool, shatnez. I was coming back, and Pesach before, especially you're, in the house, you have to clean the rice, clean it 3 times. You gotta do this, do that. By the way, in Ashkenazi Seders, I don't know what you guys are gonna eat over there. There's no food. There's no you gotta clean the house. You gotta move the refrigerator, move the oven, because you cook, small spaces, always something can fall. This day, you want to make sure. Pesach is one time you want to be 100%. You want to wear new clothes. You want to be nice, good. You want to be fresh. You want to be a king. You want to, you ever have that time one year you're so into the Pesach and you wanna be like Rabbi Akiva and his friends in Bnei Brak that spoke about the mitzvah, the story of Pesach the whole night. You're like, this year I'm gonna do it. Then after the 3rd cup in the Seder, you're like, and everybody drove you nuts that night, and you got angry, you're like, the heck with it, I don't want to do this anymore. Rabbi Akiva is Rabbi Akiva, it's Bnei Brak. I'm in New York over here, leave me alone. So I needed a little time off, so I was driving. And I turned on the radio, 97.7 FM. And who was speaking on the radio? It was a shiur of Ovadia Yosef. Shiur of Ovadia. It was beautiful. And he spoke so nice, so simple but so nice. And he said a chidush, I have to share it with you guys. I have to share it with you.
Please do so.
And it's chaval nobody came today. This could save a lot of people headache on the Seder night. So if you know people that have problem eating matzah in the Seder night, you tell them this chidush. The Ovadia says to fulfill your mitzvah of eating matzah on Pesach night, b'diavad, you don't need 4 kazayits, you don't need 3 kazayits, less than 3 kazayit, 2 1/4 of kazaitot. 2 kazaitot and 1/4. How did he get to that number? Amazing chidush. I heard that chidush, my mouth was open. How did he get to that number? 2.5 kazaitot. Less than 2.5 kazaitot. He says, first of all, if a person is healthy and strong and he could do it, he has to eat 4 kazayits, he said. 2 in alachilat matzah, and motzi matzah lechatchila. 1 in korech, and 1 in afikoman. If a person cannot eat so much, you could already shave off 1 kazait out of the alachilat matzah in the beginning. You're already down to how many? 3 kazaits. Out of the 3 kazaitot, 1 alachilat matzah, 1 is in korech, 1 is in afikoman. Which 3 are the most important?
Afikoman, the first and last.
Yeah.
Afikoman, but I would say more important than afikoman is alachilat matzah.
First one.
It's the first one. The first one.
yeah, yeah.
First
This
one.
is
You said a bracha. You have to eat a kazait.
Afikoman.
Understand? The first one is doraita. First one is doraita. And the afikoman. So 2 kazaits for sure you have to eat. Now the korech. What's korech, Rabotai? You guys in the back.
Sandwich.
What's korech? I know it's a sandwich.
Sweet one.
What kind of mitzvah is it?
Rabbanan.
It's a zecher.
Zecher Korban.
It's a remembrance. Zecher lehilel zaken.
It's not Kurban.
Korban Pesach is afikoman.
Okay.
But in the time of the Beit HaMikdash, Hillel HaZaken used to make a sandwich. Understand? So we do something like that in remembrance of Hillel HaZaken. So Rabbi says if a person is sick or he can't take it anymore, he knows his stomach, he fasted that day. He can't handle it. By the way, Rabbi says it's better not to fast on the eve of the Bechorot. And we went over the halachot. Person who's a firstborn, doesn't matter from if it's different mothers and the same father. You're a firstborn, or you have a firstborn son. Not that you're a firstborn son. If you have a firstborn son, you have to fast Tanit Bechorot.
Our father asked him?
The father has to fast instead of his son.
Oh yeah.
But the Ravadia says, there is a halacha. Are we allowed to eat matzah on Friday morning?
No.
Are you allowed to eat matzah on Thursday night? Tomorrow night, you allowed to eat matzah?
Egg matzah maybe.
Tomorrow night.
No.
Yes, you're allowed to eat matzah, 100%. Only from Friday morning you're not allowed to eat matzah. Egg matzah you could eat Friday morning.
Egg matzah.
Until mincha time. Until mincha time. After that, there are different minhagim. Our minhag, halacha, Maran, Ovadia brings down from Friday morning.
So why you could eat on Thursday?
Thursday night, so we have to understand, why can't we eat matzah? What do you say, Ariel?
Because we want to enjoy the matzah.
Because we have to enjoy the matzah on the Seder night. How long don't you have to eat matzah to enjoy it?
12 hours.
12 hours. 12 hours is enough. 12 hours is enough. So, if a person wants to fulfill the mitzvah of eating matzah with a lot of geschmack, as they call it, so he fasts the whole day. But what happens? You fast the whole day. Then you get to the Seder plate, Mainish, Megarde already. Why? Till everybody comes, till everybody sits, till everybody this, that. And this night, and this year, it's Pesach that falls on Shabbat. Make sure you guys prepare the salt water before Shabbat. You're not allowed to prepare the salt water on Shabbat. Right? Gizerav Shema Yischot Lemon. Right? You guys know that? You prepare the salt water before Shabbat. And you also have to make sure to prepare the Seder plate before you go to Mincha. This is for the men.
Oh, the man?
All men.
Man?
Ari says it's a mitzvah of the man to do it.
I never did my
It's his mitzvah to do it. To prepare the Seder plate. Every man, before he goes to shul for Mincha, you gotta take the Seder plate and set it up already. Set it up. It's your mitzvah. To come home already, everything is set. Now, Ta'anit Bechorot, why isn't it a good idea? Because you're so hungry, you just drink your first cup of wine. You know, when after a fast, a little bit you eat or drink, you're already full. So Ravadia says it's better, in our generation especially, we're weak, to go to a Siyum HaSechet. Or to a Brit, or to a Bar Mitzvah, something, eat a Kazait. Once you eat a Kazait and sit Borei Nefashot, you're Patur. You're Patur for the whole day. Now, on the Seder night, let's go back to the Korech. Since the Korech is only a Zecher, now you have friends, families that are not religious. And they're showing you a little piece of matzah they're taking and saying, Zecher, don't fight with them. Yesh lehem al mi lismoch. They have someone to rely on. Because b'di'avad, on Pesach night, if you ate 2 kazetot and a quarter,
Which is too much. No.
what's one matzah? 1 and 3 and a quarter of a matzah.
Yeah.
You fulfill your mitzvah. This is only for a person who can't. Now, what do I suggest you guys to do? Don't eat a lot during the meal. Don't eat a lot during the meal. If you eat a lot during the meal, you're not going to fulfill your mitzvah afikoman. Why? Listen to this carefully. The afikoman, you have to eat and you have to enjoy it. If you eat the afikoman and you feel that your stomach is blowing up already and it's not good. Understand? That's why we say, Zecher korban Pesach haneicha ala soba. Understand? So don't eat a lot during the meal. Don't drink too much. vodka, shmotka. It's not good. It makes your stomach full. Don't eat a lot of... Basically, on Pesach night, yes, it's a mitzvah to enjoy, but most importantly, you have once a year mitzvot that come to your hand. The Ari says, any mitzvah that's rare, its effect is 10 times a regular mitzvah. And the Ari HaKadosh says in Shar Kavanot, I want to, before that, say something to you in the name of the Torah Chacham, Rav Chaim de la Rosa. Rav Chaim de la Rosa was the foremost student of the Rashash. Listen to this, Rabotai, this is a secret. You guys are zochet to hear the secret, I'm telling you. The secret goes as such. When a person does a avera in this world, people think it's enough just to say, Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu. It's not enough. To do real teshuvah, bar minan, look at what the Ari writes in Sha'ar Ruach HaKodesh. Look at what he writes over there. It's not worth it to do an avera. Not worth it. One time a person is pogem in nida, it's 59 fasts. One time, nida, 59 fasts. Bar minan, a woman, we're learning Hilchot Nida right now. Many women don't know how to count the 7 days. They don't know how to count. I know women that count the Hefsek Tahara day as the first day. Husband is with a Nida. And that's not only that. Most women today are even Zavak Dolas. They're Zavak Dolas. Chotakoi?
But let's say she doesn't count right? When she goes to the mikvah, it doesn't change it?
It doesn't change anything. Why? I'm going to explain to you. There is this past week's parasha. There's 3 kinds, we're just going to go through 2 of them. I'll say all 3 of them. First thing is called a nida. Second thing is called zavak tana. Third thing is called zavak dola. A nida is if a woman, during certain days of the month, sees blood, she has to count 7 days. Even in every one of those 7 days she saw blood, it's okay. As long as she counted 7 days, even unclean days, she dips in the mikveh, she's kasher. But, in the other days of the month, if she saw blood, and she saw it for 3 consecutive days, she's called Zavak Dola. Zavak Dola has to count 7 clean days, and then dip in the mikveh in the night of the 8th day. Now, during the time of the Gemara, they made a takana. What takana they made in the time of the Gemara? That every woman is considered a Zavak Dola. Why? Nishtanu atvaim. The nature, the health of women changed. Therefore, every woman is considered from now on Zavak Dola. No such kind of thing as nida. We're going to be machmir to the highest form of tuma'ah. And that's why these days, every woman must count how many clean days? 7 clean days. 7 clean days. And there's many intricate laws. And it's really true. The Gemara says, back in that time, most women had a cycle that was kavua. That means she knew on this day, she's going to get her thing. These days, no woman has that almost. It jumps, it keeps on jumping. 27, 26, 28, some women 30, some crazy cases are even more than that. Some women have hormonal imbalances. Therefore, Chachamim made a chumrah, zabak dola, and halacha. Continuing. So, back to what I was saying, teshuvah is not something simple. It's not something simple. Why? Let's say, this deals with Pesach. A person did the avera that every young man does. The Ari says he has to fast 84 days to clean that sin.
Whoa.
Why 84 days? How does he get to that number? So some people are going to tell you, well, Yaakov Avinu, the first time he had a child, what age he was? 84. We don't base teshuvah on midrashim. Even though the Ari does bring that down. Why? The Ari HaKadosh says it's based on what names of God he blemished. And the names of God that he blemished equals 84. So to clean all those names, so you could live a good life and not have a punch after punch after punch, you gotta fast 84 days.
Is that midbein?
Now,
Milui?
a person, there's miluim, there's different shemot, everything is in there. Now a person cannot do all these things. There is 5 times a year that the Ariya Kadosh says, Arubot HaShamayim niftachu. What's Arubot HaShamayim niftachu? The windows of the heaven are open, and it's et ratzon in Shamayim to do such, even a small teshuvah you do, has the power to clean a lot. And one of those times is on Pesach. On Pesach, and the Aravit of Leil Pesach, he just mentioned it right now, probably I said this last year. The Aravit of Leil Pesach, Rabotai, is the single most powerful prayer of the year. And I suggest all men and women to pray Aravit of Leil Pesach. My suggestion. Why? Aravit of Leil Pesach, and I want to tell you guys one thing. When we left Mitzrayim, the Ariya Kadosh says in Shar Kavanot, in Shar Psukim, Pashat Shemot, when we left Mitzrayim, this is such a chidush. You guys are, these 10 minutes that you're listening to right now, it's worth hundreds of hours of Torah. When we left Mitzrayim, I want to ask you a question. Why did we leave so fast? Everybody knows why. Why did we leave Egypt so fast? It says we didn't have time to pack. The dough was baking on our backs. We had to run out of Egypt. Why did we have to run out so fast? Hashem said, now get out. You gotta get out now. Everybody knows the answer here, for sure. What is the answer? Because, like we learned, we were in the 49 gates of Tumah. If you would have stayed one more second inside, that's it. Till today, we would be Egyptians. The Ariya Kadosh, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria Ashkenaz Zeklish Livracha, says, what did God do to allow us to skip from 49 gates of Tum'ah? We skipped straight to the first one. What did he do?
To clean it.
How did he do that? Hashem can do anything. Hashem can do anything. But he did it in 1 second. It's called Aravit Leil Pesach.
What does that mean? Prayed Aravit?
No, not that he prayed Aravit. Hashem brought down all the Chokhmah, Bina, and Dat, all the Chabad, as we call it, not Chabad Chasidut, but Chabad, we say in Kabbalistic vernacular, Mochin, he brought it all down in one shot.
They left in Shacharit though.
Yes,
So.
doesn't matter. But the Geulah started at night. When did they do the Korban? When did Paro tell them get out?
Night.
At night. What does that mean? It takes us a whole week to do what happens in the night of Pesach happens in one shot. In one prayer. It takes us 7 days of the week to do, that means how many times do we pray a day? 3 times a day. Do 3 times 6 is how much? 18. How many times do we pray on Shabbat? 4. 18 plus 4 is how much? 21. It takes us 22 prayers to do what we do in one prayer in the night of Pesach. That's why only one time a year do we say Hallel with a bracha on the night. When is that? On the night of Pesach. And I want to tell the woman here something. You also have to say Hallel with a bracha. So before your husband comes home that night, make sure to take a Siddur, take a Sfaradi Siddur with you, and say Hallel with a bracha.
But we say that after there's a Sunnah also.
Yeah, that we don't say with a bracha.
Yeah,
Why, guys?
It's separate.
It's separate. It's cut into 2. The Hallel we say during the Seder, it's cut into 2. Half of it we say with the 2nd cup, and half of it we say with the 4th cup. Since we break it into 2, it's not respectful to say a bracha on it. That's why when you say the bracha in the night of Pesach, have in mind to fulfill the obligation on the Hallel of the Seder.
So
That's the great gadlut over here. So you bring in all the mochin of chokhmah, binah, dat, and keter, all in one prayer, Rabotai. You know what kind of et ratzon that is?
could we say the second night is also the same?
No,
Why not?
it's not. Only one night. It's only one night. Second night of Yom Tov we do in Eretz Yisrael, in Chutz La'aretz, that's a subject within itself. Because even though, why did this whole thing come doing 2 nights?
Something.
For the woman it's very hard. The Chachamim want to make women's life very hard. Till they cook, till they light the candles in the second night. You're not allowed to prepare from Yom Tov to Yom Tov. Come on. This year it falls on Shabbat, it's even harder. The laws are even harder, right? Muktzeh, you're not allowed to carry this year in the first night because it falls on Shabbat. You have the muktzeh, you have this, you have that.
Well, you can if you have all those.
Oh, the eruv, right? People who don't take the eruv. You can't cook. Usually on Yom Tov we can cook. This Yom Tov we cannot cook on the first night. Why do we do it? The Rosh says, based on the Gemara, I believe Masechet Beitzah, that even though we know exactly when the holidays fall out, we know how to calculate the days. Once the Chachamim made the Gzera, it's a Gzera. Just like the pots and pans, Rabotai. Did you guys, I know some people, you guys are not home for Pesach, but many people are home for Pesach, they don't have so many pots and pans. So they want to use the same pan they cooked with, I don't know, oshibach or something. Or they made some chametz in it. And they want to cook for it for Pesach. How do they kasher it?
You burn it.
You burn it or you do agala?
You burn it, then you do agala.
You do agala.
How you do
The way
agala?
you cook it, that's the way you kasher it. Understand? What do you do by burning? Something that was on the open fire. But what are you cooking inside the pot? First you put the water in there, it becomes boiling hot, and then you put the food in there. Correct or no? So that's the way you kasher it. Understand? Inside the oven, how do you kasher inside the oven?
Self-clean.
Self-clean, but then you also have to put the oven on
Hi.
the highest fire for at least an hour.
I thought that was it.
Huh?
I thought self-clean did that, no?
Self-clean, I don't know if it keeps the oven on a very high heat.
Of course.
It does?
Burn.
If it keeps on the very high heat, yeah,
Well, no,
of course.
it's,
But people like who have pilot ovens like me from the Shnad Antiochos.
Yeah. You do not have it. You have to keep it at least 3 hours. 5 hours.
I have to clean inside very good. That means I gotta take a oil,
Torch.
a special sponge that takes out the oil, shumani. I gotta clean all the oil, this and that. Then I have to keep it on for at least an hour, the whole oven. Hot it has to be. And even then, I don't even use the oven on Pesach. Because it's a chashash. You know how hard it is to kasher that? Rabotai. Especially the metal magashim. How do you say the magash?
Door?
The metal that you put the food on in the oven. That thing to kasher it, forget about it. Chametz falls on that, this falls on that, food falls on that. Go kasher that, you know?
Can we
Chile is
close it?
self-clean fine?
On that,
Or that's Gadayev?
and the magashim,
In general, the whole oven.
the oven, no, it's good. Self-clean is the best.
With the thing.
Yeah, because it takes out all the garbage, all the dirt from inside the oven. It's the best.
I have a
It's-
question. Can
yeah.
I sell inside too? The
What?
oven.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. When you're selling your chametz, make sure to sell all the chametz inside your utensils. Oven is one of your utensils. You understand what I'm saying?
Plata.
No, she's
Kasher,
saying
not
not to clean it, just
Burn, no?
No, I will clean.
Anything you don't use, you don't have to clean.
No, I clean no matter what.
What did you say?
Plata.
Plata?
Yeah.
It's a problem because it's electrical, no?
They also put bread on it. something.
Oh, you put bread on that? It's ba'aya gdola.
So,
You could put foil, no?
Foil on top of the plata and
Yeah.
then use
Is
the...
that kosher for Passover, yeah?
It's kosher for Passover, you saying?
That's what my rabbi said.
Okay, beside that, I don't know. I'm gotta
count-
follow your
count-
rabbi.
Countertops.
Yeah.
How do you, yeah, with the water?
You do irui mikli rishon. Countertops, you could do irui mikli rishon.
See,
You take the kettle, if it's boiling hot, and you spill it on the countertop. Or if a person is too lazy to do that, you can just put foil on top of it. Because anyways, go figure. Why am I mentioning this? You guys take me off subject. What's the reason we have to kasher our kelim? What's the reason, guys?
Okay, take out the hummus.
Because
Taste.
the Chachamim say in the Gemara, Takanat Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai, that the pot soaks in
Flavor.
the flavor of the food. The food itself, it soaks it in. These days, if you get a good stainless steel pot, that thing is not soaking in anything.
And we don't cook bread in there also.
That's true.
We eat rice.
Yeah, but you use seasoning, all that stuff. It's not kasher la Pesach. Go figure.
Salt, pepper.
Salt and pepper, salt and pepper. People to these days, everything needs a hechsher.
Spice not hummus.
You know what I'm saying? Today, everything needs a hechsher. To get out of, if you could get out of, I want to tell you guys one thing. Moroccans don't eat rice on Pesach.
I'm not gonna eat also this year.
But I want to ask you a question. Why don't the Moroccans eat rice on Pesach? The Gemara says in Masechet Pesachim they used to eat rice on Pesach. How come Moroccans don't eat rice? In the time of Rabbi Yaakov Abu Chatzira, they used to eat rice. And one week the guy made Or Savo. And back there in Morocco, how did they make their Or Savo? They used to sprinkle a little wheat on the Or Savo, wheat. So when the rabbi in the shul says you could eat rice on Pesach, you could make your Or Savo. He thought, you could make the Or Savo with the rice, you could also put the wheat on top. And the guy on Pesach went and cooked it and started serving his neighbors. And when one of the guys on the table said, listen, how did you make this? It looks like the same of during the year. He said, yeah, I did. The rabbi said I could make the Or Savo the same way I make it during the year. They went to the rabbi. And the rabbi said, Rabbi Yaakov Abu Chatzira, the grandfather of Abba Sali, said, from now on in Morocco,
No rice.
no more rice.
One shalabeka.
Because of one guy. Because of chashash, that one guy doesn't know what he's doing, comprehension problems, selective hearing, he's going to start making chametz. Start making chametz on Pesach.
So when they
In Morocco, they didn't even eat sugar. They wouldn't eat, Moroccans don't eat rice. Huh?
They don't eat now.
They don't, I don't think they eat now either. Or they could be that they do. Once they went to Eretz Yisrael, they accepted upon themselves all the rulings of Maran, of Eretz Yisrael, and they eat rice. The Gemara, Mefurash says, one of the Amoraim used to eat rice on Pesach. Mefurash. He used to eat ores, it says over there. You're gonna go against an Amorah? Come on. But the whole thing is because chametz on Pesach is karet. It's karet. It's like sleeping with a nida. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why it's very important on Pesach. One time, it's many crazy stories, I don't want to get into it. But, continuing on. What did I want to say? Okay, what time is it? Anybody have time?
9:53.
9:53. Okay, it's 5 more minutes.
9:59.
1 more minute.
No, go ahead.
I want to say one interesting thought over here. Oh, we didn't finish the Arvit of Leil Pesach. So, if a person is smart, after Arvit of Leil Pesach, you should do 5-10 minutes of Hitbodedut with Hashem. Speak to Hashem. Ask Him for Geulah, for Mashiach. It's a time to bring Mashiach. Ask Him for your wishes. Ask Him for whatever. Ask for your friends.
It's Shabbat though also.
What about it?
I thought you can't ask for wishes.
Anything that you ask for during the week, you're allowed to ask for on Shabbat.
No problem.
The Ben Ish Chai's Paskanin, Torah Lishma, and Sodish and Rav Poalim, you're allowed to do it. I can show you the source inside.
I believe it.
Okay? Anything that you ask, that's why we do Refuah Shlema during the Shabbat. You ask for Refuah Shlema. What could make you more worried than to pray for a guy Shalom who has cancer? Well, why can't you ask your wishes on Shabbat? Because you're going to start getting worried.
So where do they get that from?
Since we ask Refuah Shlema during the week, it's already something that's, it doesn't move you.
It's an everyday thing.
Yeah. So, now what is the Seder night? I want to explain to you guys one thing. The Seder night, when we drink the 4 cups and we eat the matzah, it's like the 4 times we bow down in Shemona Yisrael. It's like the 4 times we bow down in Shemona Yisrael. It's everything we do in Arvit of Leil Pesach. The mirror image of that is the Haggadah. And I want to tell you guys, the women are not here, but tell your wife. Your wife is obligated to say the story of Mitzrayim too. She cannot say, I'm not obligated. It's Shulchan Aruch.
What do you mean say?
She has the mitzvah to say the Agadah.
Could she
You
hear
read
me?
the Haggadah.
Oh, of course, any mitzvah that a person is chayav, he could be let's say dechovah with somebody else saying it, of course. But she can't be in the kitchen while he's reading it. She has to listen to the whole thing. You understand what I'm saying? It's not enough to say Pesach, Matzah Maror. Understand what I'm saying? By the way, when we say Pesach, very important, don't point to the Paschal, whatever, the thing. Because some say it's like you're making it hekdesh. So that's only if you roast it, they say. But if it's cooked, it's okay. Whatever, just better not to do that. Side halacha.
Just look at it, right?
Right. Just look at it. When you say matzah, you pick up the matzah. When you say maror, you pick up the maror. And so, women are obligated to say the Haggadah of Pesach. She is obligated to say the story of Egypt. You are obligated to tell your children the stories of Egypt that night. If you don't have children to say it to the person sitting next to you. If you're doing the Pesach Seder by yourself, you're obligated to say it to yourself. The Rambam says that. Understand? That's the mitzvah.
So let's say you're yourself, right?
Yeah.
You teach yourself new chidush.
You gotta teach yourself the whole story of Egypt right from the beginning. And there's so much to say, Rabotai. So much. Today I was going over some stuff. Chidushim al gabe chidushim. I was going deep inside, Baruch Hashem. I was okay, even though I was babysitting the whole day. I was babysitting my kid. I was, a man that's babysitting his kid. He feels like he's in a trap before Pesach. You can't do anything. This, that. He's crying. He's in one hand. You have a book, But even lefum tzara agra. The more harder it is when you do something, the more it retains in your mind. When we took our test for chuppah v'kiddushin in the Rabbanut, 8 months of the year we learned, you don't remember anything. But when it comes down to crunch time, that's it. The test is in 3 weeks. You're on the plane already. Whatever you learn at that time, it retains in your mind. Why? Your mind is in fight or flight mode. You understand? It retains the things. Now, after you finish Hallel on Pesach night and you drink the last cup, that moment is exactly like the moment of after Aravit of Pesach. It's a time of great et ratzon. Don't waste it sleeping. Talk to Hashem, ask your wishes, pray
So when?
for your friends,
What's the time?
till the end of the first day of Pesach. The whole first day of Pesach is great et ratzon. From the second night, when does the et ratzon start? When we say Sfirat HaOmer. Sfirat HaOmer is big.
Yeah, but Arvid comes already in the night.
Yeah, but all the big stuff that happened is on the first day. The second day we just do because of the Safek. Understand? Chutz la'aretz. But the real et ratzon, for example, Mekubalim, they don't do any kavanot from the second day of Pesach until Shavuot. Only one time a day they do kavanah. When? On Sfirat HaOmer. Second night we have 4 cups, everything. No, nothing. Pashut, pashtanim. But Sfirat HaOmer, 10 hours. Baruch atah Hashem Sfirat HaOmer. A person should know. The Baba Sali, during the Sfirat HaOmer time, he used to hide from people. He wouldn't accept people. Sfirat HaOmer time is the greatest time of the year to rid yourself of all the blemishes on your soul. That's a et ratzon gadol. I'm telling us to do it. In the 6th week of Sfirat HaOmer, the 6th week, Yeshivat Bet El, they used to do tikkun karet every night. Stay up every night and learn Torah. That's how great the Sfirat HaOmer is. Now I know I didn't really touch what I wanted to say over here, but maybe on Shabbat.
You still got time.
Okay, I know, but I had to help out the wife and do stuff. And it was my pleasure, even though we're a small crowd, but it doesn't matter. Even one neshama that comes to hear Torah, one chidush you heard, one chidush of Torah that you heard, you say it on the Pesach night, you don't know how many zchuyot you're doing. And I want to say this shiur was l'refuah shlema Shaul ben Esther, who just went through brain surgery today. He had a tumor, he had refuah shlema b'zchut the Torah we said today, b'zchut the Ari HaKadosh, and hatzlacha of every person who needs hatzlacha of our Beit Knesset. May we be successful. May Hashem bless us. May Hashem Bless everybody that is in need. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen. Amen.
חזק ברוך.